Imagine yourself walking through an abandoned, rain-soaked forest somewhere in the middle of nowhere. The trees twist into impossible shapes, their bark glistening with a strange dark moisture that doesn't quite look like water. The ground beneath your feet feels wrong, almost spongy, as if the soil itself is alive and breathing. Every instinct in your body screams that you shouldn't be here, that something is watching you from between the branches, that the silence around you is far too perfect to be natural. Now imagine that this entire forest sits on a piece of land so bizarre, so disturbing, that most governments around the world have officially banned anyone from ever setting foot on it. What you're about to discover are 7 islands that defy everything you thought you knew about our planet. Places where nature broke its own rules, where history left scars so deep they still bleed today, and where the line between reality and nightmare becomes terrifyingly thin. Stay until the very end of this video, because the final island on this list is so disturbing that the country that owns it has spent decades pretending it doesn't even exist, and what was buried there could one day threaten the entire human race. We begin our journey in the heart of Brazil, off the coast of Sao Paulo, where a small piece of land rises from the Atlantic Ocean like something pulled straight out of a horror movie. Ilha de Queimada Grande, better known around the world as Snake Island, is officially classified as the most dangerous island on planet Earth, and the Brazilian Navy has made it completely illegal for any civilian to step foot on its shores. The reason is as terrifying as it is fascinating, and once you hear it, you'll understand why even the most experienced biologists in the world refuse to spend more than a few hours on its soil. This island is home to the golden lancehead viper, one of the deadliest serpents ever to slither across our planet, and the population density here defies belief. Scientists estimate that there is roughly 1 snake for every square meter of the island, meaning that wherever you step, wherever you look, wherever you reach, death is coiled and waiting in absolute silence. The venom of the golden lancehead is approximately 5 times more potent than its mainland cousins, capable of melting human flesh around the bite wound and causing kidney failure, brain hemorrhaging, and severe internal bleeding within just a matter of minutes. There is no antivenom that works fast enough to save you if you are bitten on the island. How did this nightmare come to exist in the first place? Around 11,000 years ago, when the last ice age ended, rising sea levels separated this small piece of land from the Brazilian coast, trapping the snakes that lived on it in complete isolation. With no ground predators left to threaten them and an abundance of migratory birds passing overhead every season, the vipers slowly evolved over thousands of years to climb trees and developed a hyper-potent venom that could kill their prey instantly before the birds could fly away and die somewhere else where the snakes couldn't reach them. Local legends speak of lighthouse keepers who lived on the island many decades ago, only to be found dead in their beds by relief crews, their bodies covered in dozens of bite marks from snakes that had slithered through the open windows during the night. The lighthouse still stands today, automated and abandoned, a silent concrete monument to a place where humans were never meant to belong, and probably never will. From a place crawling with venomous death, we now travel across the Atlantic Ocean to an island where the dead refuse to stay buried, no matter how hard the living try to forget them. Welcome to Poveglia, a small forgotten landmass floating quietly in the Venetian lagoon of Italy, just a short boat ride away from the romantic canals and gondolas that millions of tourists adore every single year. But there is absolutely nothing romantic about Poveglia. This island has been called the most haunted place on Earth by paranormal researchers from every continent, and once you understand its dark history, you'll see exactly why even hardened locals refuse to even speak its name out loud after the sun goes down. During the Roman era, Poveglia was first used as a dumping ground for plague victims, where the sick and the dying were sent to perish in agony, far away from the healthy population of the mainland. When the Black Death swept through Europe in the 14th century, the island became a massive open grave, and historians estimate that well over 160,000 bodies were burned and buried in its soil over a period of just a few years. To this day, the ground of Poveglia is said to be more than 50% human ash, and visitors who have illegally set foot there report finding charred bone fragments simply lying on the surface of the dirt. As if all of that wasn't horrifying enough, in the early 1900s, a mental asylum was constructed on the island, where doctors performed brutal and experimental procedures on their patients, including primitive lobotomies using nothing more than hammers and chisels and zero anesthesia. According to legend, the head doctor of the asylum eventually went completely insane himself, claiming he was being tormented day and night by the angry ghosts of plague victims who had died on the island centuries before, and he eventually threw himself from the top of the bell tower. Witnesses claim he survived the fall, only to be strangled to death by a strange mist that rose up from the ground beneath him. The Italian government has since banned all visitors from setting foot on Poveglia, and even local fishermen avoid the surrounding waters, afraid that their nets might pull up something they were never meant to find. If you're enjoying this dark journey across our planet's strangest islands, take a quick second right now to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because what comes next is going to challenge everything you thought you believed about the natural world. Trust me, you absolutely do not want to miss the islands, still waiting to be revealed in this video. Our third destination shifts from human horror to pure natural wonder, taking us all the way to the remote archipelago of Socotra, located in the Arabian Sea off the coast of Yemen. If aliens ever decided to visit Earth and recreate their own home planet on our soil, Socotra is exactly what it would probably look like in every detail. This island is so geographically isolated, having been completely separated from mainland Africa for over 6 million years, that nearly 70% of the plant species found here exist absolutely nowhere else on the entire planet. The most famous of these alien-looking plants is the legendary dragon blood tree, a bizarre umbrella-shaped giant whose thick branches reach toward the sky like the gnarled and twisted fingers of some ancient forgotten titan. When the bark of this tree is cut with a blade, it bleeds a thick, dark red sap that resembles human blood so closely it sends shivers down your spine, and for thousands of years, this sap has been used in alchemy, magic rituals, and traditional medicine across the Arabian world. Ancient Egyptians believed it had the power to bring the dead back to life. But the dragon blood tree is just the beginning of the strangeness on Socotra. The island is also home to the desert rose, a swollen, bottle-shaped plant that looks like something pulled from the wildest imagination of a science fiction artist, and the cucumber tree, the only tree species in the entire cucumber family that exists anywhere on the planet. Walking through Socotra feels exactly like walking through a vivid dream, where every shape, every color, every sound seems just slightly off, as if reality itself has been bent and twisted by some unseen force. The island is so unique that the United Nations declared it a World Heritage Site, and scientists continue to discover brand new species here every single year that have never been seen by human eyes before. Yet despite its incredible natural beauty, Socotra remains one of the most inaccessible places on the entire Earth, with very few outsiders ever managing to actually visit its mysterious shores due to political instability in the region. From an island that looks completely alien, we now move to one that should not even exist at all. Hashima Island, located off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan, is a place frozen in time, a concrete ghost rising from the waves like the rotting corpse of a forgotten civilization. Once one of the most densely populated places on Earth, Hashima was a thriving coal mining community that somehow managed to house over 5,000 human beings on a tiny piece of land smaller than 15 acres. To accommodate this absolutely insane population, towering apartment buildings made of concrete were constructed across the entire surface of the island, creating a massive labyrinth of gray walls and narrow alleys that earned Hashima the nickname Battleship Island, because from a distance, its silhouette resembles a giant warship floating in the Pacific. For nearly 100 years, the people of Hashima lived stacked on top of each other in tiny apartments, descending into the dark mines beneath the ocean floor every single day to extract the coal that would fuel Japan's massive industrial revolution. But when petroleum officially replaced coal as the world's primary energy source in the early 1970s, the mine was abruptly shut down, and the entire population was forced to leave the island within just a matter of weeks. They left behind absolutely everything in their hurry. Furniture still in place, dishes still on tables, clothing still hanging in closets, photographs still framed on the walls, all of it abandoned, as if every resident on the island had simply vanished into thin air during a single night. Today, Hashima is slowly crumbling back into the sea, its concrete towers cracking and falling, its empty streets overgrown with stubborn weeds, its silent broken windows staring out at an ocean that will eventually swallow it whole forever. The island became so famous for its unbelievably haunting atmosphere that it was actually used as the secret lair of the main villain in a James Bond film, and limited tours now allow brave visitors to walk through small sections of its decaying ruins, where every footstep echoes through hallways that once held the laughter and conversations of thousands of forgotten souls. Now, before we continue, I really need to tell you that the next island on this list is so genuinely unsettling that you'll find yourself questioning whether what you're hearing is even real or some kind of elaborate fiction. So make absolutely sure you're sitting down right now, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this is the perfect time to do it, because what comes next is just the beginning of the truly bizarre. Our fifth strange island takes us to the freezing icy waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, to a place that didn't even exist until very recently in human history. Surtsey is a volcanic island that was literally born from the ocean in the year 1963, when a powerful underwater eruption off the southern coast of Iceland sent rivers of molten lava bursting violently through the waves. For over 3 full years, the underwater volcano continued to erupt without stopping, building up layer after layer of cooled black rock until a brand new piece of land had risen completely above the surface of the sea. Scientists from around the world immediately recognized that Surtsey was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for biological research. Here was a completely sterile island, totally untouched by any form of life, a perfect blank canvas where nature could begin its slow process of colonization again from absolute zero. The Icelandic government quickly declared Surtsey a strictly protected scientific reserve, and to this very day, only a small handful of researchers are allowed to set foot on its shores each year. They have to follow incredibly strict rules and decontamination procedures to make absolutely sure they don't accidentally introduce any seeds, insects, or microorganisms from the outside world that could contaminate the experiment. Watching Surtsey slowly come to life over the decades has been one of the greatest experiments in the history of biological science. First came the ocean bacteria and fungi, then the soft green moss began to grow, then the seabirds, who began nesting on the new cliffs and bringing seeds in their droppings from distant lands. Plants began to sprout from the bird droppings, insects appeared seemingly out of nowhere, and slowly but surely, an entire functioning ecosystem began to take shape on what was once nothing but bare black volcanic rock. Surtsey has shown us, in real time and right before our eyes, exactly how life colonizes new land, and it has become a living laboratory for understanding the very origins of biodiversity on our planet. But here's the truly unsettling part of the story. Surtsey is slowly being eroded away by the powerful waves of the North Atlantic, and scientists now predict that the entire island will eventually disappear back into the ocean within the next century, taking its unique ecosystem and decades of research with it forever. Our 6th destination is perhaps the most cursed place on this entire list, an island so deeply steeped in mystery and tragedy that explorers have been losing their lives trying to unlock its secrets for over 200 years now. Oak Island, located off the coast of Nova Scotia in Canada, is home to what is famously known as the Money Pit, a deep, mysterious underground shaft that was first discovered in the year 1795 by 3 teenage boys who noticed a strange depression in the ground beneath an old oak tree near the shore. When the curious boys began digging into the soft earth, they discovered layer after layer of carefully placed wooden platforms, mysterious charcoal deposits, and even a strange flat stone with bizarre symbols carved deeply into its surface. The deeper they dug into the earth, the more elaborate the engineering became, suggesting that whatever was buried at the very bottom of this shaft had been hidden by someone with extraordinary skill, resources, and patience. Theories about what actually lies at the bottom of the Money Pit range wildly from the lost treasure of the legendary pirate Captain Kidd to the missing crown jewels of Marie Antoinette, to the original handwritten manuscripts of William Shakespeare, to even the mythical Holy Grail itself. Over the centuries, treasure hunters have spent literally millions of dollars trying to reach the bottom of the pit, and at least 6 people have died horribly in their attempts, killed by sudden underground floods, collapsing tunnels, and equipment failures that some researchers believe are simply too perfectly timed to be mere coincidence. According to a chilling old local legend, an ancient prophecy states that the treasure will not be found until exactly 7 men have died in the search, and the body count currently stands at 6. Just one more death, and the curse may finally be broken. The most chilling part of the entire Oak Island mystery is that the deeper anyone digs into the ground, the more booby traps and complex flood tunnels they encounter, suggesting that whoever buried whatever is hidden down there absolutely did not want it to ever be found by anyone. To this very day, the mystery of Oak Island remains completely unsolved, and the cursed treasure continues to claim the lives of those who dare to seek it. Before we reveal our final and most disturbing island on this entire list, do me one quick favor and share this video with someone who absolutely loves dark mysteries and unexplained places. The more people who see these stories, the more we can keep bringing you the strangest and darkest corners of our planet every single week. And now, finally we arrive at our 7th and final island, a place so disturbing and dangerous that the country that currently owns it has spent decades trying desperately to pretend it doesn't even exist. Vozrozhdenia Island, located in the middle of the Aral Sea between the countries of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, was once the most secretive and dangerous biological weapons testing facility in the entire Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War. Beginning in the early 1950s, Soviet scientists used this incredibly remote island to develop and test some of the most lethal pathogens ever created by human hands in a laboratory. Anthrax, smallpox, bubonic plague, tularemia, and dozens of other absolutely horrifying diseases were weaponized here in massive quantities, then sprayed across the surface of the island in enormous open-air experiments to see exactly how effectively they could kill living test subjects. When the Soviet Union finally collapsed in the early 1990s, the scientists working there fled the island in a complete panic, leaving behind tons of contaminated equipment, infected animal carcasses, and barrels containing weaponized anthrax simply buried in the sand with almost no protection at all. For years afterward, the rest of the world believed that the dangers of Vozrozhdenia were safely contained by its complete isolation, since the waters of the Aral Sea surrounded it on every side. But then something truly terrifying began to happen. The Aral Sea, which was once one of the largest freshwater lakes on the entire planet, began to dry up rapidly due to massive Soviet irrigation projects that had diverted the rivers feeding it. As the water slowly receded year after year, Vozrozhdenia was no longer an isolated island. By the year 2001, it had become permanently connected to the mainland by a wide land bridge of dry seabed, meaning that any animal or any human could now walk completely freely onto what was essentially the most contaminated piece of land on the entire face of the earth. American and Uzbek scientists eventually launched a desperate joint cleanup operation, attempting to neutralize the buried anthrax stockpiles before they could be carried away by wind, water, or wildlife to populated areas. But experts strongly believe that not all of the dangerous pathogens were successfully destroyed during the operation, and that dormant spores could still be hiding deep in the soil right now, patiently waiting for the right conditions to be released into the world once again. The most chilling thought of all is that some of the diseases tested on Vozrozhdenia were specifically genetically engineered to be completely resistant to all known vaccines, and if they ever escaped into the global human population, the consequences could be absolutely catastrophic beyond anything we can imagine. Today, Vozrozhdenia is officially uninhabited and listed as forbidden territory, but rumors persist of strange new illnesses appearing in the nearby villages, of fishermen who venture too close to its shores and never return home to their families, and of dark secrets that the governments involved would absolutely prefer remain buried forever in the contaminated sand. These 7 islands prove something truly extraordinary about our planet that most people never stop to consider. Beneath the surface of everyday normal life, hidden away in the most remote and forgotten corners of our world, there are places that completely defy explanation, places where nature, history, and human ambition have collided violently to create something absolutely unforgettable. Some of these islands inspire pure awe and wonder, some inspire genuine terror that keeps you awake at night, and some make us seriously question whether there are corners of this earth that should remain forever untouched by human hands. If this dark journey fascinated you even a little bit, leave a comment down below telling me which island disturbed you the most, hit that like button to support the channel, and please subscribe so you never miss the next deep dive into the strangest and most unexplained mysteries our world still has to offer. Because trust me when I say this, our planet has many more secrets hidden in its forgotten places, and we are only just beginning to scratch the surface of uncovering them all.